anyone owning it just sits there, right? It is not productive. To make it productive, one must own it and put improvements upon it. So land by its nature is the surface of the earth, everything attached to it by nature. Now, on the other end of things is what is called real estate. Real estate is when someone has land and they put artificial improvements on the land. So real estate by its nature is the surface of the earth, everything attached to it by nature, plus the improvements man has put on the land. However, you know, just to give you an example, you're sitting in this classroom right now, right? What gives you the right to be here?
You paid for it.
And how do you prove you paid for it?
Receipt.
How do I prove I belong here?
Name tag?
Name tag gets issued. If you don't belong here, you might not have a name tag, which means someone might call security and have you dragged out of here. And you don't really have to be here, have a right to be here, except the fact that you've identified yourself as a paying customer. Gold Coast actually has a right to be here, but we don't own it, correct? We have what is called a non-freehold estate. We have a lease that allows us to be here as long as we're current. And we observe what our agreement was in the lease, right? But there's a party that may or may not be here. I don't know where the owner is. I don't look at property records. That's not my position. But again, there's an owner of this land and an owner of the improvement. And if you turn to page number 118, excuse me, page number 118, they put on that. Page number 8, we'll have to start again. The term real property is used. And the term real property simply means this. There is somebody, an investor, who purchased the land and the improvements, and they actually have what are called ownership rights. Ownership rights are called real property, not real estate. So the public is interchangeably using real estate and real property. We, the professional, consider ownership real property. In other words, we only have two rights as a lessee. We have the rights of possession and, within the agreement that we have in our lease, the right of use. We don't have ownership, though. Now again, physically, real property has great significance regarding the physical aspects of it. And we'll explain this in a little while. So again, when one has ownership of real property, they have the rights to what is on the land, and if they are on water and they have the right to the water rights, they would have access to water. As you know, in our world, 90% of all trade moves how? Air, land, or water. And if you looked at the most powerful nations or empires of the world, they all have something in common.
Water.
Yeah, they can move goods and troops very easily through water. Moving things through land is entirely cumbersome and expensive and dangerous. Has anyone looked at, from satellite, a view of the Earth? It's mostly what? Water. And very little land. So land is scarce, and actually land is disappearing rather than more of it coming up, right? And we're a very sensitive species. There are only certain areas in which we can survive. You know, we need temperate climates. We need access to water. You can, fresh water, not salt water, right? People who are stranded on the water in the ocean are warned not to drink the water, right? That should be desalinated. Water is one of the most precious resources we have, fresh water. and also air that is suitable for breathing. Those are the three requirements for a human being. By the way, fish don't have to worry about it, right? So access to water is really access to power in our world. And now, and again, this actually depends on ownership. If the owner has rights to what is under the ground called subsurface rights. And there's another type of right that is given depending on the ownership, what are called air rights. What is the ownership's right to a certain space above the ground that will give them rights? Now, it sounds a little complex, but let's go a little further with this. And again, of special importance is the rights of access to a body of water which can be lost or can be owned by another party.